What's up everyone, Amy here. In this video, I want to go through some questions and answers around Groove Pages, Groove Blog, and WordPress. What's better for SEO, whether you can rank for keywords on Google, and my own personal tips from using both platforms. Now, I'm recording this video as of the 24th of September 2021. So if you're watching this video at a later date, some of the recommendations mentioned in this video may change because new features get added and there are regular updates to the platform. A disclaimer first, these are just my thoughts and opinions, so I highly recommend you do your own research and testing. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, question number 1, what's the best domain structure for Groove Blog? Now, I'm going to assume that you're looking for something similar to WordPress with a focus on content marketing and SEO. Let's log into Groove Blog, click on Settings and Domains tab. The first option is publishing to your subdomain. So this is on Groove Blog's subdomain. For example, I have a blog on a dog breed of Rottweilers and I don't want to buy a domain name yet. So I can use Groove Blog's subdomain, which makes the URL roddy.grooveblog.com. I would use this option if I just want to test out the niche and I'm not ready to commit time or money to writing lots of blog posts or articles. And I would also use this option to make more like a Web Point 2 property and syndicate out contents as well as building backlinks. Next is publish to the root domain. So that's yourdomain.com using your own custom domains. You would do that by going to domains, selecting your domain name, location, root. You can also have a subdomain, but I prefer not to use a subdomain for a blog. And for subdomains, you would use that if you had multiple blogs for different languages. So one for English, one for Spanish, one for Chinese. That's when it will be good to use. Predominantly, you'll be using it on the root domain, which means if people were to type in roddy.lifestyle.com, they're going to see Groove Blog as the homepage and everything on the root domain will be tied to Groove Blog. This would be my preferred domain structure if A, I wanted my entire website architecture or theme to have a Groove Blog layout, and B, if I wanted to focus on getting traffic from content marketing and SEO. So unlike WordPress, you don't have the option of creating custom pages because pages are built on Groove Pages. You would add your Groove Pages URL in the menu navigation up here. And you can do that by going to navigation, the links here, you just go and edit and add the link to your Groove Pages URL right here. So essentially every page on Groove Blog will have a post layout with a fixed header, footer, as well as sidebar, but you can also disable this sidebar within Groove Blog as well. Another reason why I prefer this option of using the root domain, especially for SEO, is when you go to the SEO tab over here, these are the new tags available, which was recently introduced a few days ago. Previously, these tags weren't available and you had to have a slug of something like posts, which caused your post URL to be yourdomain.com/post/post title name. But now you can just delete this and have post name as your slug. So if I was to go to an existing post, I will click on settings. Down over here is the post slug. You can add more to it, but if you delete whatever post slug is here and click on publish, the URL is now yourdomain.com/the post name or title. Personally, for me, it's cleaner, better for SEO, and it's not buried through another folder like blog/Rottweiler. That's my recommendation, having your domains published to the root domain with a slug of post name. Now, maybe later on, Groove might introduce the option of having Groove Pages and Groove Blog on the root domain. For now, it's either Groove Pages or Groove Blog on the root domain, not both. And if you chose to have Groove Blog on the root domain, then Groove Pages will have to be on a subdomain of that domain name. The last option is published to the folder. You would use this option if you want to build out a website using Groove Pages on the front end. So your root domain would be yourdomain.com. that will have GroovePages as the main hero app, and you will build out your homepage, about, services, and contact page. Your Groove blog and all the posts that is in your Groove blog will be on the subdirectory or folder called blog. And you would select this and root, and that folder name, you can specify it to be blog or post or article. That's entirely up to you. Next question, can I rank keywords with Grooveblog and GroovePages? You can actually rank for keywords using GroovePages or Grooveblog. I've done both, especially long tail keywords. And if you don't know how to find long tail keywords, watch my video on how to do keyword research for a new website. Whilst quality content on page SEO and backlinks is extremely important, a major ranking factor is how fast your website loads. In June 2021, one of the Google algorithm updates was attributed to page speed. For GroovePages, this depends on the number of elements you have on your page, such as optimizing large image sizes, optimizing JavaScript, CSS. Basically, the more you have on your page, the more it will affect your page speed. So if we were to go to groove.cm's website and test it on Pingdom website speed, the page loading time is 3.16 seconds. The default Grooveblog installation is around 295 milliseconds. Sometimes it could be more depending on the server at that time. For good user experience, try to aim at a load time of 1.2 seconds or less. So in this case, if we were to compare something built on GroovePages and Grooveblog, Grooveblog is the winner here in terms of page speed. So from an SEO perspective, if I was trying to rank long tail keywords right now, and I mean right now, as of the 24th of September, I would use Grooveblog, but that can change if GroovePages does more updates later on. My Grooveblog is slow and the GT metrics is a C or D score. How can I improve this? So if you go to GT metrics to troubleshoot your page speed and performance, Grooveblog out of the box installation will generate a score of C, performance of 67%, and a largest contentful paint of 1.7 seconds. I use both GT metrics as well as Google page speed. So you just Google page speed insights into Google, enter in your URL, and it's going to show you the page speed in terms of what Google see on their end. So straight off the bat in page speed insights, you can see here first contentful paint is 3.2 seconds. And this is basically the time at which the first text or image is rendered. And this could be text, images, including background images, logos, or any elements that you have on your GroovePages or Grooveblog. If you scroll down and click on here, FCP, it will tell you opportunities for improvement. For example, one of the opportunities for improvement is reduce initial server response time. And the estimated savings time is 0.81 seconds if you can improve upon it. If you click on Learn More, you will see this page. And to reduce server response time, which is time to first byte, is the time that it takes for a user browser to receive the first byte of page content. So when a user navigates to your URL on your browser, the browser will make a network request to fetch that content. Your server receives this request and returns the page content that the user sees on the screen. This, unfortunately, is controlled from the server side, i.e. Groove's hosting. So there's nothing you can do on your own to improve on this aspect. Now, I'm not going to cover speed optimization in this video because it will take forever and it will depend on a per website basis since every website is different. For the time being, the biggest win you can do is compressing your images in a next-gen format. So if you click on All, you can see here that serve images in next-gen format is taking 2.84 seconds, and that's something that you can control on your end. Click on the drop down. You will see the various images on your Grooveblog, the size of the images, and the potential saving once you compress images to a WebP format. Here's what I do. I would download all these images, rename all my images with my keywords, head to a website called tinypng.com, upload that PNG or JPEG file, let the website compress the image, download it, and then re-upload that image to a website called Compress or Die. You want to select the WebP compressor, upload your downloaded image from tinypng.com and compress it in a WebP format. I would then re-upload that image in Grooveblog. So most of the images that were larger and needed to be compressed were the featured images, and you would go to settings, delete this, and then select your compressed image. Can I transfer all my WordPress blog posts to Grooveblog easily? Right now, there's no import tool from WordPress to Grooveblog. So you will need to recreate your blog posts in Grooveblog. Groove has indicated that the import feature will be available once they're out of beta or next year. But bear in mind that if you want to convert a WordPress site over to Grooveblog, you will need to make sure you put in place redirects if the post URL on your WordPress is different to your Grooveblog post URL. How do I install Google Analytics and Google Search Console? For Google Analytics, you can install your global site tag in Settings and then go into Tracking and Pixels, pasting your global site tag here. For Google Search Console, you will need to add a text record that Google Search Console provides to you into your domain name server. And that could be Groove's domain name servers or Cloudflare, depending where you manage your DNS. I have a video on my YouTube channel that shows you how to set this up and add the TXT record to your domain name servers. And I'll leave a link to that video in my pinned comment. What features are missing in Grooveblog that is beneficial for SEO? So far, from what I can see at this present moment on the 24th of September 2021, I would say faster hosting and server response time from Groove. More Grooveblog themes. Right now, there's only one theme that you can use, and I would like to see more themes with different layouts that are lightweight with UX design in mind. The ability to automatically generate a sitemap and RSS feeds would be great. The option to install third-party plugins for SEO, but the risk with that is that you have to keep on updating it and there could be security issues. So hopefully Groove builds that into Grooveblog. Redirections for error pages or 404 pages on deleted posts. So for example, if you delete a post in Grooveblog, if that post gets indexed, you want the ability to redirect that post URL to a current or updated post URL. A schema generator for various schema types like articles, reviews, videos, recipes, and product schemas. Caching options would be another nice to have. Internal linking suggestions, which help with on-page SEO so that you can interlink related pages on your blog posts. Google Analytics integration within the dashboard instead of having to log into Google Analytics. And there's probably more that I haven't mentioned here. But in terms of all this, there are workarounds that require a bit more technical work and coding. Should I use Grooveblog or WordPress for SEO? For WordPress, I would use it on small niche sites or when you want to rank a small group of keywords, you're not fussed with layouts and there are low competition. But expect limitations in terms of the SEO features mentioned previously. For WordPress, it has all the bells and whistles that allow you to create an authority site that relies heavily on organic traffic. At the moment though, I think SEO and ranking is better on WordPress bar none, since you get to control the hosting, the theme of your WordPress website, and install third-party plugins for SEO that help the technical SEO component side. But a year from now, my opinion could change if Grooveblog keeps adding features like WordPress. So conclusion, it really depends on your goal with the blog. At the end of the day, Grooveblog and Groove pages will rank for keywords that have lower competition. You don't necessarily have to use plugins or have all the SEO features in place in order to rank. I would say quality content, well-written content, on-page SEO, and backlinks matter more. For me, I would still use WordPress for SEO and building out big websites. Plus, I'm a bit lazy. Some features that you get through plugins can be done manually if you have technical knowledge, but I don't want to overcomplicate my life. Hence, I use WordPress because speed to implementation is more important to me. So, when should you not use Grooveblog? I wouldn't use Grooveblog if you want to build out an authority website and perform advanced SEO. However, that shouldn't stop you from using Grooveblog to rank either. If you have your mind set on building out a big authority website and then later monetizing it by selling the website, I think WordPress is the way to go here. What do you personally use? Well, I use both. I use WordPress and Grooveblog. For my own branded websites, I use WordPress because I can control various aspects. For example, I can change the WordPress theme and choose a lightweight theme that's optimized for SEO. So if you guys want to know what theme I use on my website, it's GeneratePress. For SEO, I use a plugin called Rank Math, and I purchased the Pro version, which gives me the ability to do on-page technical SEO, and that just makes everything less complicated. I'll leave a link to Rank Math below in my description if you want to check it out. And because I can change hosting on my WordPress site, I've opted to go with Cloudways. That's something I use. Previously, I was using SiteGround, which was shared hosting, and my page speed on GTmetrix was C. And now my GTmetrix score is an A, performance of 100%, and it takes 236 milliseconds to load. Also guys, if you want to use Cloudways, I've got a coupon on my website. Just use Amy when you're purchasing to get 20% off. And for Grooveblog, I would use that to build out small niche websites that have less competition in Google for less competitive keywords. Or if I wanted to test out a niche to see if it's viable without committing too much time and resources to content production. All right, guys, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could hit that like button. And until next time, see ya.